Hello and welcome to this week's LOLC Securities Weekly Market Roundup. I am Megara Vijayamana.
And I am Karindu Amarasekara. This is the sound of profitability. The Monetary Policy Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka at the recent meeting decided to maintain its current standard deposit facility rate and the standard lending facility rate at the current levels of 8.25% and 9.25% respectively.
The focus is on ensuring that inflation aligns with the target of 5% over the medium term. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka also said that market lending rates continue to decline in line with the current accommodative monetary policy stance. Meanwhile, yields on government securities, which came under pressure owing to perceived uncertainties amidst the presidential election, showed preliminary signs of easing at the Treasury bill auction following the election.
The Colombo stock market last Friday closed one of its most bullish weeks in history as investors gained confidence over prospects in listed equities under the regime of President Anura Kumara Dissanayake. During the week, the benchmark all-share price index gained by 7.4%, while the S&P SL20 index gained by 10%. Turnover on Friday was 2.9 billion rupees lower from 4.3 billion rupees on Thursday, but in tandem with the average of 2.85 billion rupees for the week. Turnover marked a 120% increase from the monthly average standing at 1.3 billion rupees. The capital goods sector solely contributed 36% to the overall turnover, whilst the banks and materials sector jointly contributed 34% to the total turnover. Foreign participation in the market activity remained at subdued levels, with foreigners closing as net buyers. Retail interest was noted in Brown's Investments, Maravilla Resorts and LOLC Finance.
The Governor of the Central Bank, Professor Nandalal Veerasinghe, predicts that the Sri Lankan economy will grow at a rate of more than 4% due to the increased economic activities. Initially, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka estimated a 3% growth rate for the Sri Lankan economy against the IMF predictions of a 1.2% growth.
The World Bank has projected Sri Lanka's growth to be at 2.2% for this year, while the Asian Development Bank has estimated it to be at 2.6%. Sri Lanka's gross domestic product grew at 4.7% in the second quarter of 2024 after the first quarter's 5.3% expansion, helped by low inflation and strong exchange rates, according to the state-run Statistics Office.
Now it's time for the corporate highlights. Sri Lankan listed entity Brown & Company plc has acquired Isin Lanka Private Limited for 1.4 billion rupees. Isin Lanka Private Limited is a BOI approved company. Brown & Company plc has acquired 100% shareholding of Isin Lanka Private Limited from its former shareholders on the 24th of September 2024 for a total consideration of 1.495 million rupees. It will now facilitate the warehouse operations of the Browns Group and will improve Brown & Company and its subsidiaries' operational efficiency by increasing their manufacturing and warehousing capacity.
Janashakti Life has announced exceptional financial performance for the first half of 2024. The company achieved record-breaking performance across key performance indicators, including a 45% growth in the gross written premiums compared to the same time period in 2023.
Other operating revenues also surged by 111%. During the first two quarters, Janashakti Life has paid over 2.2 billion in claims, fulfilling all customer obligations and expectations. The company has also distributed Rs 3 billion in dividends, further showcasing its robust financial health and dedication towards rewarding investors and other stakeholders.
Here is the international highlight of the week.
There is less than a week until a major dock worker strike could shut down the container ports in US Atlantic coast and Gulf Coast. Meanwhile, the cargo owners are trying their best to avoid the fallout. The International Longshoremen's Association is threatening to walk out if a deal is not reached by the 1st of October. The agreement between the Longshoremen's Association and the Maritime Alliance expires on the 1st of October.
The association hasn't gone on strike since the late 1970s, and there is a lot of uncertainty around what it would look like. Generally, goods that arrive or depart in a container anywhere on the Gulf or Atlantic coast are at risk of coming to a halt next week. Some ocean carriers have stopped taking export bookings and set up significant disruption surcharges for cargo moving to and from the at-risk ports later in October.
And that's it for this week's LOLC Securities Weekly Market Roundup. No matter what investment decision you make it with the right intent. We will see you in a brand new week.